Will Ontario bring in policies like we've seen in New Brunswick and now Saskatchewan to require that parents be informed if their children change gender identity at school? And I would love to hear from Patricia about this as well.
Look, I think it's important to note that every school must be safe for every child. I think we understand, though, that parents, must be fully involved and fully aware of what's happening in the life of their children. I mean, often there are health implications, and I think we have to respect the rights of parents, recognizing that these can be life-changing decisions. And I think parents want to be involved so that they can support their kids. And I think that's a really important principle that we must uphold.
Is that you are going to require it then, like with legislation?
We're simply making clear as a province that we believe parents should be fully involved, fully aware of what's happening to their children. And these are significant changes, and they have a right to know. And so we would expect school boards to be transparent with parents, as we always have.
How do you respond to the criticism we've heard from, that it puts some LGBTQ kids at risk, where maybe they're not, their home environment's not a safe place for them to be out or to have a different gender identity?
No, for sure. I mean, this is why I led with the recognition that safety must prevail, the safety of the child, both at home and in school. For there are exceptional circumstances where there can be situations of potential harm to a child. Educators are well versed on exactly what to do and who to turn to if they believe that child may be harmed for whatever reason or whatever circumstance. We will always safeguard the right of children to be safe. We'll always ensure that that is the case. Educators do amazing work to recognize the signs and the changes in behavior and energy and attitude. They really do wear many hats, and we're grateful for what they do. But there's a well-established protocol to ensure the safety of children, and I have every confidence that what has been the case for many years will continue to be, that they can leverage those that protocol if they believe something potentially could put the child at risk. But as I say, as an overarching value system, I really do believe that parents need to be fully aware, fully engaged, and that school boards need to be transparent with parents. I mean, they are the legal guardians. They love their kids. They want to be aware of what's happening in the life of their children in their schools. And I think that is really important that they know.
So your position is that they should, but there's not a requirement to report or anything like any directive like that from the Ministry of Education?
School boards will have policies. I'm just affirming to you the province's position on the matter quite clearly, which is parents have a right to know, and we will respect parental rights. We think boards must do the same.
Back to what Siobhan was asking you about regarding the gender issues. The Toronto District School Board's current policy says a school should never disclose a student's gender nonconformity or transgender status to the student's parents, guardians, or caregivers without the student's explicit prior consent. This is true regardless of the age of that student. So a 4-year-old could say something to a teacher, and suddenly their names change, their genders change at school. Parents are forbidden from finding out.
Right.
Why wouldn't you make it a policy the way Saskatchewan and New Brunswick have? There's an Angus Reid Institute poll out today saying 77% in Ontario back this idea that parents should be informed.
Well, I think what I'm communicating clearly is that as a province, we believe parents must be fully aware. We can have situations where information is being withheld from a parent. We think that transparency is a strength. So we're sending out that clear message, and we're also reaffirming the importance of the right of parents to support their kids, to help their children. And I think that's really important that they are aware. So with that said, obviously our priority remains making sure that school boards get back to basics. It's why we've tried to make the case to school boards through now law and regulation that there must be binding focuses on student achievement, on academic success, on the back to basics emphasis. If we do that, we keep parents more informed. We've empowered parents through this bill to now be consulted on their priorities at least twice a year. This is the cultural change I think parents want to see in Ontario schools, a refocused, more accountable, more disciplined, and frankly, with a greater emphasis on foundational skills. And I think that's a really important thing we can do for Ontario families.